Hey guys, Alex here from Top Tennis Training, and today we have a special review for you. Our partners, ProDirect Tennis, have sent us a great shoe to review. This is the Asics Court FF Novak. This is the shoe of Novak Djokovic and the shoe that he's using in Australian Open 2019. We're going to have a look at his performance, we're going to look at the design, and talk to you more about what the shoe feels like on the foot.
So Alex, we just play tested the new Asics Djokovic shoe. Initial thoughts?
Really like the shoe. As someone who used Asics when I was playing, really like the brand, and I can see exactly why Novak has picked this shoe for his Australian Open campaign. So for everyone out there, let's break it down into three parts and talk about the shoe. Let's really review it. So we'll talk about the comfort, the performance, and the design. So let's talk about the comfort first. What did you think about it?
So for me, when I put these on, I could really feel that it's almost a very well supported shoe. It's like putting on a sock. So you have at the top here, this is something that you see a lot with the new tennis shoes, this kind of sock feel. So when you put the shoe on, it feels very snug and very secure as soon as you put the shoe on.
I think the cushioning of the shoe has been incredibly well designed. I think like the sole feels really well cushioned. All round there's cushioning at the bottom of the shoe, so I feel like it'd be really good for your feet when you're wearing it, especially if you're playing long matches or you have a long day on the court. I think these shoes would be great because it would never hurt your feet compared to some of those kind of like thinner soles.
Yes.
This one, because it's a little bit thicker, I think it's going to be a lot more well cushioned.
Another thing that I realized as soon as I put it on was there was a lot of space at the front. So with someone who has wide feet, I've always struggled in finding good tennis shoes because when I put the shoe on, I feel that it's always very narrow. Whereas with this one, I felt like I had a lot of space, but even though I was moving around, it wasn't moving to cause me blisters. So it's a very nice design at the front. Actually, it would fit somebody half a size bigger.
Yeah, and that feel at the front, I think it gives you just enough space that you can have
moving around.
You can move around. You don't feel like your foot is ever gonna hit the front of the shoe, and also it's wide enough to support you, but not be too wide that your foot's kind of moving around and it's going back to that sock feel. So it's just a well thought after design.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the performance of the shoe.
So for me, when I started playing, I could feel exactly why this shoe would suit someone like a Djokovic, a baseliner, someone who's moving side to side, because the lateral movement feels really good with this shoe. So Alex, how did you feel when you were playing with the shoe?
So for me, I felt like they were really springy actually, and it's interesting because Asics, they're also a running shoe. It's not surprising that they've produced a shoe that actually gives you quite a lot of spring, so you're actually able to push off quite quickly, and then maybe it's also to do with why they chose to make it this cushioned. It kind of also works as a springer to push you from side to side and moving forward. So it's a great shoe for really pushing off quickly.
How about durability? What do you think in terms of the design and the bottom of the sole of the shoe?
So I know that Asics, on most of their shoes, they actually give usually a guarantee. They're that confident that the shoe's going to last for 6 months. And I can see that this shoe would probably last that long. It depends obviously how much you play. For pros, maybe not so long, but I can see that the shoe would last quite a long time because
very thick sole.
It's got a really thick rubberized sole here, and it's well protected at the top. So the nose, those of you that drag the nose on your backhand or on the serve, if you're doing the pinpoint, and it's not gonna wear out there. And because of that rubberized top, I think it's not gonna wear out too soon.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the shoes that are currently coming out, yes, they look good. They've got the material upper, but then once you start dragging your toe, that quickly falls apart, and you're left with a sole, but not much here at the top because you've dragged that material out of place. And that's why I think this shoe would be really durable. I think it's probably one of the most durable shoes out there, as far as I can see. Maybe someone like an Adidas Barricade you compare it to.
Yes.
Almost looks a little bit
very
like a
much
Barricade.
The same design.
Yeah. So now let's talk about the design.
Yes.
What did you think about the design in general?
So I like the design. As soon as I opened the box, I like the design.
It's a great colour, isn't it?
Great colour, very well made. You can see they've used high-end materials.
Yeah.
And you can see that it's a very modern shoe with a good design.
So we talked a little bit more about this rubberized upper. I mean, a lot of the current kind of latest shoes are using, and Nike are using that in some of their shoes in the cage.
Yes.
They've put this into the shoe. I think it makes it quite breathable, and I think because it's got like holes in it. Does it have holes in it? Yes, it does.
Ventilation.
Yeah. So it's just an all-round quite a beautiful shoe.
Yes. I like the design at the back as well. They've got the ND logo as well, Djokovic logo. Yeah.
What about the shoelaces? Because these shoelaces are actually quite unusual, and it's something that you'll see when you open this shoe. They've got an unusual shoelace. These shoelaces are a little bit thinner than normal throughout the shoelace, and they thicken out. They become bigger at the end where you're actually tying them up. Why do you think they've done that?
Well, I think to make it easy to tie up. If it was thin the whole way through, and probably they'd come undone. But also, if you look at the holes, the thinner section will go through the holes very easily. Yeah,
and I guess it makes them slide around when you're moving. So when you tie them up, you're not going to have some areas of the shoe that are more tied than the other. So it actually makes the tying of the shoe even throughout. So that I guess that helps the shoelace slide through the holes a lot better. It's quite an interesting design. I haven't actually seen any other shoe do this.
Never before.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So what about the disadvantages? What would you say are the disadvantages of the shoe?
Well, for me, the first thing that I noticed was, because it's a new shoe, it feels a little bit uncomfortable when I wear it. But I think if you get used to it, if you wear it a couple of times, that's going to start, the feel of the shoe is going to take shape of your foot, and it's going to start feeling a lot more comfortable.
I can see what you mean, because they feel a little bit more bulky than perhaps some of the other shoes, but I didn't actually feel uncomfortable. So the moment I put them on, I actually felt really comfortable because they're a little bit wider than some of the shoes that I've tried in the past. Yes. So they felt quite comfortable, but they have a little bit of that kind of bulky feel, so that it takes you a while, for that shoe to mold around your foot. I did find a little bit, again, for me personally, someone. Maybe it's the way my bone is positioned on my ankle, but on the outside, the the arch is actually quite high here, so it comes up, the support, the sock feel here, it comes up a little bit high, so when I am moving forward and my foot sits forward into the shoe, I end up kind of, my bone feels like it's hitting this part of the shoe a little bit more. And if you're someone that struggles with that, if you're getting blisters on your bone, on the outside of your ankle, this is quite kind of a high arch here, so it might not be the shoe for you. But again, if you wear two socks, for example, to break them in a little bit, where it'll kind of widen that part, then perhaps that wouldn't happen. So that would, for me, would be the only kind of disadvantage, and I would combat that by wearing two socks for the first few trainings that I do, and then I'd obviously make that a little bit wider here so it doesn't end up hitting my bone there at the front. But in general, I felt really comfortable. I thought the back was well cushioned. Inside it was really well cushioned. It's just a well thought out shoe.
It's a really good shoe.
Yeah, so let us know, guys, what you think.
Yes.
I mean, if you're thinking about buying this shoe, I think this shoe is going to be released very soon. Yeah, have a look at it. Let us know what you think. Do you use Asics yourself, or do you prefer other brands, and how do they compare to the Asics? Let us know in the comments underneath. Of course, like the video, support us by subscribing to our channel.
Yep.
And of course, look out for more of our videos.